dogs in the yard might need a guard. Every loss taken to heart. Me first, that cannot be. Must be these underdog episodes, see? Feeling much better, so suddenly under the Monica G. Crafted at night while all of them sleep. I won't look a fool, taking this tool, defeating the opposition around me. No, I'm not sorry. Yes, I'm taking this knowledge and party. Just barking no harm, don't be startled. Yes, I'm taking the title, and it's so vital. Thanks for the ride, I'll never be idle. Turn up the dial, it's about to get wild, and the points gon' pile up.
Dynasty underdog bite down, up at the day and the night. Now, easy as flying a kite. Now, come take a look at it right now. Dynasty underdog bite down, up at the day and the night. Now, easy as flying a kite. Now, come take a look at it right now.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 158 of Dynasty Underdog. I'm your host, Uriah Dawkins. With me as always, Billy Beeman. What's up?
I could tell you felt that one. I could tell you felt that intro.
I'm trying to bring the energy.
you know the NFL season is right around the corner when all the free agent running backs start signing, man. It's that time of year.
Yes. We knew it was going to happen eventually, and it pretty much happened like back to back. So I think we only have Leonard Fournette is basically the only big one left.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what backfield he's going to ruin. It's going to be one. I'm trying to think of the one that I had in my head, but it could easily be like a Minnesota and tear into Alexander Madison or something like that. I mean, there's plenty of options out there that he could ruin.
Sure. I think the one that would just burn Twitter for the whole day would be Miami. So
Miami would be a brutal one, that's for sure.
I don't see it. He would look so funny in that uniform.
Yeah, maybe New Orleans will sign another running back.
Jesus Christ. Well, let's hop into it. So Zeke gets a deal, 1-year deal, and he ends up with the Patriots. I think we talked about this earlier. I don't mind it at all.
No, I mean, it's honestly I don't really think it's a big hit to Ramondre Stevenson.
No,
I actually was going back and forth a little bit with Josh Larkey on Twitter. He put out how this is kind of a fairly substantial hit to Ramondre Stevenson, and I just don't see how this is much different than having a Damian Harris there. I don't even see how he would snipe more goal line touches from Ramondre. To me, they're more bringing him in because they know he's a safe, reliable option at running back who can protect the quarterback, who will do the right thing on any given play, and they can spell Ramondre Stevenson here and there. They can give him a rest because that was the big thing. He really he couldn't handle 350 touches or whatever he took last year. He handled, I think, something like over 65% of the rushing attempts, or he definitely had that in rushing and passing share. So one way or another, they don't want him doing that. They don't want him to get injured. He can't really, nobody can really handle that workload. So I just think he's there to give him a breather here and there and just be a reliable option. To me, this really kills guys who I've been talking up a little bit, like Pierre Strong and Kevin Harris. Maybe one of them, catches on after this year, learning behind these guys, because this is a 1-year deal, I think, for $3 million or up to $6 million. So yeah, there's opportunity for the guys from the future, but I don't think Ramondre takes a hit. And I honestly, somehow I think that he might have standalone value, and obviously he's a great handcuff if Ramondre goes down, but yeah, I still love Stevenson.
Yeah. I think he also has good standalone. My Zeke shares a week ago were more sad than they are now. I think Zeke's gonna get some play, and honestly, he's older, right? He's ancient in running back years. He's a little bit slower, but I'm a good thing for him to get, I don't know, 40% of the carries or 30% of the carries, or see what he looks like when he's a little bit more fresh. You know what I mean? Instead of having to have the burden of being the guy, right? So it could be a good thing.
Yeah, I haven't done the projections for them yet, but I hope that he's not getting any more than 30% of the carries, to be honest with you. So
sure.
I don't think he's touching any passing work from Ramondre. I don't think he's taking any from him whatsoever, other than just being on the field and it being a just happenstance dump off, So anyway.
Sure. All right, the next one, Dalvin Cook. After long wait, he finally stands with the Jets. It's interesting because I think the day that they signed him or maybe it was the day after they signed him, they activated Brees Hall off of PUP, and so he's out there practicing. So again, this one is like more murky for me. Like I don't like this for fantasy nearly as much as the Zeke one. The Zeke one is fine with me. Like I'm happy to have both players, but with the Cook there, if I'm a Brees owner or if I'm a Cook, like I don't want to think about it, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, based on the money and just kind of there's a narrative going around that Cook obviously has more left in the tank than Zeke, right? Just based on the contract and there just seems to be that's what people think about Dalvin Cook. I'm not quite sure that that's necessarily the case, and I'm there's not any certainty or anything like that, but I'm confident that Brees Hall is talented enough to, you know, the point where Dalvin Cook is not going to prevent him from getting touches, from, you know, breaking out this year. So I think that any kind of discount on Brees Hall should be sought after right now. You should be going out and seeing, you know, what you can acquire him for. I've seen some deals. I've gotten completely shot down in some leagues. So some people are definitely hip to it. He's already back on the field. He already looks good at camp. I think they just want a solid backfield here while Aaron Rodgers is there. I think they're really trying to push and just give them the best chance that they can to reach the playoffs and the Super Bowl. So that's all I think it is. I think it's just adding another weapon. I don't think it has anything to do with, yeah, we need to take it easy on Brees. I mean, obviously coming off the injury, he's going to, you know, they're going to take it easy on him for the first few weeks, but I don't think that Dalvin Cook down the stretch is going to prevent him from giving you the upside in fantasy that you're looking for.
Yeah, this is like more conspiracy theory type stuff, which I just love. But I think it was the CBS guys were talking about, you know, maybe with Aaron Rodgers taking a pay cut and then them bringing in Dalvin, somebody he's familiar with. You know that Aaron Rodgers is going to get a lot of his way when it comes to how things are going. And there's a chance where maybe, even though Brees is like quote unquote ready, that Aaron Rodgers isn't going to feel comfortable with a second-year player out there doing what he needs to do, but he could trust that Dalvin Cook has because he's seen it over the last 5-6 seasons. So
yeah, I heard this. I've heard the same thing, and I don't even know if I think it was multiple sources that said this, but I don't buy that. Like Aaron Rodgers wants an older, less talented player on the field because he played against him 2 times a year in Green Bay.
Do this.
Like I don't know. I don't do this. I don't know. I don't like it and I don't buy it. So yeah. Again, I think that there's nothing Dalvin Cook can do on this team to prevent Brees from breaking out if he's really coming back from this injury and going to be the same player we saw towards the end of the year last year. So I love Brees Hall no matter what. His hit, like I've been doing underdog drafts and whatnot in best ball. His draft stock has taken a complete hit, 100%. Now, I haven't gotten any deals done. I could see that, some dynasty managers aren't willing to move off him no matter what, but I've also seen some deals get done. So I totally would be going after him first and a second and, some kind of player or something. You could definitely get something like that done. He's absolutely worth it.
Absolutely. I think that's a smart take. Not really surprising, but Anthony Richardson is...
Wait, we're skipping over everyone here?
Oh, shoot. My bad. Burks, Treylon Burks, in practice, went down. No contact. Leg injury. Turns out to be an LCL sprain. He's going to be out for a little while. Likely not ready for week 1, or at least not 100% healthy for week 1. But it's nothing. It's not a tear. It's not a break. We're not doctors here, but anytime it's a sprain, that's better. So, but he's hurt. This kind of sucks for a second-year player. You're hoping to break out and lead the team in targets, and it might hinder his start to the season.
Yeah, definitely tough, but I don't think like long-term concern. So I think that, this is just another obstacle in the long line of obstacles that Treylon Burks has had to overcome at the, beginning of his short career here. I do think people are going to start, getting a little wary of having them on their roster and wanting to move on from them. So you could find a window here to buy. May as well talk about this one here. What do you think about Burks in a second for George Pickens? So, like, say you'd be sending George Pickens for Burks in a second. Do you think somebody would do that?
Yeah, I'd do that. I'm still not I'm not believing the Pickens type. So, yeah, I'd do that. If I could trade Pickens and get Burks back in a second, yeah, all day.
Okay.
Burks is just a better wide receiver.
What about straight up Burks for Pickens?
I think I'd only do that if I'm getting a little extra.
You'd only do it if you're getting a little extra on top of Pickens or on top of Burks?
Yeah. I think
right. Pickens in like a third or Pickens in like a second for Burks.
The opposite. If I have Pickens, if I could get Burks and something back, I'd do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Pickens' value right now is probably higher than Burks, right?
It should be.
Or am I out of the loop right now? Like I don't. I mean, in my mind, it seems like Pickens has got all the momentum and Burks doesn't.
I mean, you certainly
doesn't seem right to me. But.
Yeah, just by field test, like definitely seems that way. But let's see. Got this stupid keep trade cut up here. We'll see what this has to say. Pickens is wide receiver 24. Burks wide receiver 30. So yeah,
there you go. So I do that. If I get something back on top of Burks to get off of Pickens, I'm doing that 100%.
Yeah. Okay. I think it does need to be. I mean, based on that value, it definitely seems like it's about second round value. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Now Anthony Richardson is going to be starting week 1. I'm really not surprised. We just don't see first round NFL quarterbacks now anymore. Not recently. I mean, they were out there with Pickett, and it just kind of seems to be the normal thing. And Anthony Richardson, he looked okay in his debut. He threw more passes than per drive or whatever. Then I think that maybe it's not going to be quite as run heavy as we anticipate, but it's going to be interesting to see. And I'm glad that he's going to be out there this week too, just to kind of see what's going on with him.
Yeah. I think the best thing to do with these guys is get them on the field, especially when they haven't played a ton of ball and they're this talented and have elite traits. You just kind of got to get them the experience. So yeah, I love it. I know, we don't have Josh on here. He'd probably say he'd love to see him sit a year or sit behind Gardner Minshew for 6 to 7, 8 games, whatever it is, which we've seen plenty of quarterbacks be successful doing that as well. But I agree. What I saw from him, at least in that first game, looked like he could place the ball pretty well. He didn't look too flustered. Now I'm sure he's not going against, all first team defense and everything like that. But yeah, this is what we're going to get. We're going to see this year. And I mean, he's going to be a monster rushing. Like it's going to be a productive fantasy year for sure, almost no matter what.
Yeah. All right. Charbonnet, ADP versus Ken Walker. What do you got?
Oh yeah. I need to pull up the tweet I got here. I forgot. Yeah, I was just I think I was in a best ball draft, but then I went and looked at his Dynasty ADP, or both of their Dynasty ADP, and I was like, this is just, why is this so far apart? And I just want to understand the vast difference between the two. And we're a Dynasty podcast, so we'll talk Dynasty here. Walker, running back 9, Charbonnet, running back 24. That gap is just far too much for me. I don't understand it. These guys don't have too much draft capital between them. Difference. What was Charbonnet, a 3rd round pick, I believe?
Second.
I'll tell you right now. If he was a 2nd round pick, they both were 2nd round picks.
I think they're only separated.
Oh, he was a 2nd round pick. He was a 2nd round pick. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but they're only separated by like a few picks, I think. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
For some reason, I thought he went in 3rd. Yeah, both of them are separated by very few picks. You're right. Sorry, cut you off.
No, it's good. It's something that we've been saying about Charbonnet. At least, I've been touting like Pete Carroll doesn't care. He's going to put the best running back out there. Period.
He don't care about draft capital.
He don't. I mean, he's a really, really good coach. Has been his entire career. USC, so on and so forth. Like, he's definitely a Hall of Fame coach, and he just knows how to put the best players on the field and use their talents the best way. And I still think Charbonnet's better running back than Kenneth Walker. I think with the ADP, what is striking is that Kenneth Walker is so high. It's not that Charbonnet's 24 or whatever, but I think that given what we saw and just kind of what we know, Kenneth Walker should be in the teens or 12 or 13 or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hot take alert. I like it. No, I watched Charbonnet. I've watched Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker had a really good season last year, but I just think Sharps brings some more oomph to his game, some more violence than Kenneth Walker does. And I think that's kind of, you're not getting beast mode out of the guy, right? He's not Marshawn, but like he's closer to Marshawn than Kenneth Walker is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody
It's facts.
I don't know if you saw or anybody who's listening saw the first preseason game for the Seattle Seahawks, but he had two separate plays where he had on the same defender. I'm trying to remember who the defender was, but he absolutely trucked him twice. One was on I think they were both on screens, maybe, or one was on a rush and one was on a screen, but absolutely trucked him, and he was a good defender too. Yeah, and I just think that absolutely. And I think he's a more well-rounded player than Ken Walker. I think they're both super talented, but I do think he's more well-rounded. So it wouldn't shock me if at some point in the season, second half of the season, Zach Charbonnet has more touches than Ken Walker. However that split goes, it wouldn't shock me if he has more touches or is leading the backfield or is the guy that they want to see doing more of the work heading into 2024. So I love Charbonnet. I don't understand. Again, the gap's running back 9, running back 24. I think it's like 4th round versus 8th round or something like that. 5th round versus 8th or 9th round. I mean, it's such a vast difference. And I think this year he could do it. I'm gobbling him up everywhere, any format. I just think Charbonnet is an absolute value right now, absolute steal. I haven't really gone out and sent too many offers in Dynasty. I needed to do that. But I think I'd be comfortable sending, I think you could send a 24 first and get maybe Charbonnet and a pick back.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, and I think I'd be comfortable doing that in almost any situation where I don't have like a top, 5 pick where I'm not like tanking or something like that.
Yeah. All right, this one's fun. This guy you've been talking about pretty much all off season, Hayden Hurst propaganda.
Yeah.
So what I noticed was that people pulling up information on, can we just like give a lot of credit to the guys who like do the preseason work, because it's insane. Like I understand like regular season, keeping track of snaps, snap percentage, just opportunities, but like they're doing it for the preseason because they're degenerates and I love it. But Hayden Hurst he ran a route on all 7 of Young's dropbacks. I mean, that's kind of telling you, hey, he's going to be involved. He's going to be involved. He's one of those guys that like, he has a chance to be second in targets on a team. And as we know from Coop, that's what you look for in a, productive top 5 type tight end. And he's so cheap.
Absolutely. Friend of the show, Andrew Cooper.
Yes.
Good dude. I've been doing, I've been putting together the projections and I'm going in alphabetical order. So I've done the Panthers already, Carolina, and he's second on the team in targets for me. 100%. Like I don't really have another way to split it. Like maybe you can force Jonathan Mingo, the rookie, into an 18% target share, but that doesn't really happen often. And if he's getting that, then Adam Thielen, who I have getting 18% target share, is probably getting a little bit less. And I think that Hayden Hurst is going to sit there at about 18%, which is going to be 97 targets, probably about 68 receptions, 600 yards, 4 touchdowns. Not going to be like anything great. Like he's probably going to end up as a mid, probably end up like near tight end, like 8 to 10 or something like that. But he's going to be, valuable enough to where he'll be right now. Like you can get him for a 4th. Like if he's going to score,
I talk about waivers.
Yeah, waivers. If he's going to score tight end 10, even tight end 10 numbers, that's a steal. You want that. And I think that that's very possible this year, even on a crappy team.
Absolutely. Cool. So let's hop into some preseason surprises, risers, fallers. just information that we gathered from last week's games. We have a preseason game going on tonight.
This is like all risers, by the way.
That's okay.
There were no fallers. We're positive today.
That's how it happens, right? But it's fun. It's fun. So this one, Deuce Vaughn, Cowboy. Obviously, I put him on the list because I love him, and I'm small as well. I'm taller than him, but he's got me by like 30 pounds. or more. But he's an absolute unit. He's a tiny absolute unit. His analytical profile was just off the charts. If he wasn't 5'7", 180, they say. But he looked good, man. He looked like a tiny little Barry Sanders out there. And, he's rising up right now. He's going in the 14th round of drafts. Not dynasty drafts, but just, like underdog and stuff like that. So I think he looked really good. This is something that we've talked about before. His dad does work for the scouting department. His dad made the phone call. Everybody knows about that. But honestly, he's going to have a role there. I was thinking weeks ago, I'm like, we have a guy, Kavonte Turpin, another tiny little guy, kickoff returner. We got him from the XFL, like XFL MVP or something like that. Just absolute stud when it comes to the return of the ball. But they both could play very similar roles. They're really small, really fast, really shifty. And I'm looking at the 53-man roster. I'm like, there's a chance that Deuce Vaughn just ends up on the practice squad or, cut or just not making the team because he's tiny. Historically, this guy has no chance. But man, did he make, I don't know, just pay dirt with every single opportunity he had in that preseason game. I think Deuce Vaughn makes the team, and I think he has an impact this year.
He's going as running back 54, round 16 in Dynasty. Yeah. I just think, size matters in the NFL unless you're absolutely exceptional. And I put that out on Twitter. And I believe that to a pretty large extent. Obviously, there's guys who just can't make it. But I do think players like Tank Dell, who have near elite route running abilities, or Deuce Vaughn, who are shifty at a rate that, very few players are, and have a unique ability to evade defenders because of their size and their speed. The combination, they're just able to do things that others aren't. I'm not saying that they're going to be uber productive in fantasy, but these guys definitely have a chance to succeed despite their size. Like their size is not what is going to prevent them from succeeding. I do not think, given their skill set. So, I think Deuce Vaughn looked really good, really shifty in between the tackles. His vision was good. I just don't see how they're going to be able to keep him off the field. Like Malik Davis is fine, but Deuce Vaughn has upside that Malik Davis just doesn't have. He in college, like you said, the production the production he put forth in college at Northwestern was insane. Like absolutely insane. Stuff that other players do not do. 1,500 yards. He had, I think in his sophomore season, he had like 1,400 yards and 18 touchdowns. I'm almost positive it was 18 touchdowns on the ground. I think he's followed it up with 9 touchdowns and like 1,300 yards or something like that. It's not like he was playing in a Division like 3 school or something like that. Like he's playing against real athletes, and he's here in the NFL doing it against NFL talent. And I think that he's going to have a role this year, like almost 100% by second half of the season. He'll have a role over Malik Davis, I believe. And I think that he's in line for the kind of like Darren Sproles type career path.
Yeah, I can see that. And it's Kansas State. But...
Kansas State. Sorry, Kansas State. I don't know why I said Northwestern. I'm thinking of Evan Hull out of Northwestern.
Are they both purple?
That's what it was. So. Yeah, I think so. I get them confused.
I do that.
I like both of those guys, and I like both those guys a lot. But
you asked me next year what college you went to, and I'd tell you I have absolutely no idea. I only hold on to that information for about 3 months.
Yeah, Kansas State's not a scrub like school. Like it's not.
No. But he absolutely should. If he wasn't so tiny, and you put his profile and production on a guy that is 5'10", 210, 5'11", 210, he's 101, right? He's talented. He's a very good running back.
Yeah, I mean it's Division I football.
Yeah. All right, that's enough about Deuce Vaughn. Which I could talk about Deuce Vaughn all night. Yeah,
I know.
And my boy Jalen Tolbert had a really good preseason game too. So
We talked about him
solidified
last
his
week.
role as wide receiver 4 on that team.
The one thing I want to say about Deuce Vaughn is the ballers on their Dynasty podcast last week. I think it was before the preseason game, were so adamant that Deuce Vaughn would not happen, cannot happen, will not happen. And I'm almost 90% sure I was listening to like this week's, and the tune was definitely slightly different. But yeah, man, like, and it was all about size. All of it was about size. Like he's 160, he's like 160 or 170. He's not going to happen. Like I don't think that matters when you're like, if he tears his ACL and loses all of the abilities, then yeah. But like he's super shifty and very hard to tackle. Like I think, I don't know, can't just I can't be that adamant about these guys. You never know.
Next one is A.T. Perry, which is awesome. He's one of the guys I think I was snagging with one of my very last picks. I think I even got off waivers after rookie drafts were over, and so I have quite a bit of A.T. Perry. That dude went out there and was catching bombs. Like I think it was like 6 for 6, 100 yards or something, like just absolute show. I don't know what the depth chart looks like there in New Orleans, but say like Michael Thomas does what Michael Thomas does. There's this very real reality that you could have Olave and A.T. Perry as wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 on that team.
Yeah. I mean, I think Rashid Shaheed slots in there maybe as the slot receiver or something like that, or the field stretcher, but definitely A.T. Perry would play much more of a Michael Thomas role if he were to get on the field. And yeah, I mean, he was out there with Jameis Winston, and he was doing some pretty special stuff. He scored a touchdown, I think, on the first catch there. So I was pretty impressed. I was definitely impressed. And he was an afterthought, a guy who really just didn't test well athletically, but looked really not really good on film, but put some good stuff on film, and just a bigger body, one of the bigger bodies in this class.
Yes.
And yeah, you never know, man. It's not likely with a guy like him, given his profile overall, but he looked pretty good out there.
All right, next one, Tajay Spears. Looked good.
Yeah, Tajay Spears.
Looked good. Did what
he
he's
did look
supposed
good.
To do.
Yeah. And given all the talk about his knee and his busted knee, or how he has no ACL, he looked all right. And maybe that shortens his career overall, but we're only worried about really 1-2 year window with a guy like him, and what maybe we can get for return in a trade or something like that for that kind of guy, or a short term flex spot fill in or something. But I do think he has a lot of opportunity behind Derrick Henry. Plays a little bit different style than Derrick Henry. Probably can catch a little more, or not probably can, but I imagine that they're going to put him in a role where he's catching more passes than Derrick Henry. So, he probably has some PPR appeal, and it looked like he has some potential to just get on the field to maybe make it so that Derrick Henry is carrying it for like 290 and not 350. Like, I don't know.
And that's the thing too. Henry hasn't, finished a whole season in a few years now. So, and he's in the AARP membership, as far as running backs go. So, he's a very high value handcuff to have. And then Dynasty, I mean, going forward, like, there's a chance he could be, their starter in a year or two or something, or have like a Tony Pollard type deal where people are saying, get Derrick Henry off the field, Tajay's better, blah, 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 blah. And then maybe it happens. So he's definitely a guy that like I would want on my team just to see what happens. He looked good.
What do you think you'd have to spend for him? A third right now? Like how do you get him on your team? 2/3?
I don't think anybody's giving you Tajay for a third, but probably a second.
What about 2/3?
Yeah, you could probably do that.
Nah,
someone might want to do that. Yeah.
That's what I would try.
I would
try. Yeah. I think he's kind of like forgotten. Like I haven't really heard much buzz about him at all. So I don't know. All right. Is he a Bandicanda?
Kind of fast.
Or like I was about to say, or like you like to say, is he a Bandicanda fast? Yeah. He surprised me a little bit, and I do think I was kind of wrong on him. I mean, anybody who thought he was going to be like a feature back or something like that is kidding themselves. But I didn't really think he could play. But I don't know. From what I saw from him, he seems like he would be a competent backup. Now he's not going to have to with Dalvin there, but Dalvin's not going to be the long term, right? So it could be Breece and Abanikanda, for the next couple of years, and he looked like he's serviceable. So I thought he showed well.
Yeah, I agree. What I saw from him, he looked pretty shifty, and he looked like an NFL running back out there. So then that's kind of what you want to see. Dalvin, Brees, all that stuff just kind of kills his. It is what it is.
Yep.
Next one is Aiden O'Connell. I honestly don't even know who that is.
You don't know who Aiden O'Connell is? Oh my god.
I don't. Yeah, no.
All right. We need to find a new co-host.
All right.
No. Aiden O'Connell's a backup quarterback for the
yes, AOC. Got you.
What's it called? AOC.
Yeah. They call him
he's
AOC.
He's known as AOC.
My bad. Yeah, no, I know. He balled
That's
out.
really hilarious.
Yes,
That's how you know we're degenerates when AOC means Aiden O'Connell to us. He's the backup quarterback for the Raiders. Yeah, for the Raiders. He looked great. He looked absolutely phenomenal, and not like he's going to take over a starting role, though this year, given Jimmy's there and could get injured at any time, he might. But he's super accurate. Just looks like he knows what he's doing. Looks like he's been in the league for some time. And again, it's preseason, but you can tell when these guys have some ability, and he was very poised, and he can clearly get the ball where it needs to go in, short to medium range. Downfield and upside is a different story. But I'll tell you what, like, I saw him on waivers in a couple leagues, snagged him up. Like, he's out there, and I would send a fourth for him, because those kind of guys, they pop, and you can sell them for more than what they're worth now. So I liked what I saw from him. Like, really liked what I saw from him.
All right, next one, Emmanuel Wilson. I think undrafted, so that's important to know. Running back, Green Bay Packers. He looks pretty good out there. I don't like to say it because I still have faith for Dizilla, AJ Dillon. But yeah, he looks good.
Room for two. There's room for two, brother. He I think he rushed for like 111 yards and 2 touchdowns, and it was the anniversary of his father's death. It just happened to be. So there was that. But he's a guy who went to a Division II school. So like I was looking for his stats, and like he doesn't even come up on like college or on College Football Reference or whatever. So, but he played 16 games and carried 331 times for 2,087 rushing yards, a 6.3 average, 22 rushing touchdowns, along with 31 catches for 278 and 2 touchdowns. Previously, that doesn't matter. So he's clearly a talented kid, and Aaron Jones isn't long for the team. They don't really have much behind Dillon and him, so I'm not thinking this guy's going to take over the backfield, but he could definitely take over the backup role at some point. And he showed up in the first game. Who knows what happens from here on out? Like undrafted, maybe he doesn't make the team, but he definitely gave himself a chance. So these are some guys that I picked him up. You probably saw in Dynasty Underdog. I picked him up in all of our leagues.
I saw that.
I was doing a little research today, and I was like, let me see if he's in any of the leagues. And I went there, and he was in. And it wasn't just there; it was like in almost every league he was on waivers. So I went and snagged him up in a lot of places. We've had the hot take alert just sitting on the bottom. You didn't want to tell me that. Well, this whole thing is hot take alert. Yeah, it's the whole thing. I mean, really.
I mean, it kind of is. We're talking about undrafted rookies, preseason, taking over backfields.
Oh yeah. Last one, the late round guys. Elijah Dotson, another guy, undrafted. Division II school, but he's over there for the Chargers. Again, it's Eckler, Joshua Kelly, Isaiah Spiller. He had a damn good game. I think 100 yards or something like that, and then a touchdown maybe. But just some guys to keep your eyes on. Again, risers. There wasn't too many fallers because it's preseason. Like what's going to happen? Unless you're like dropping balls left and right, which I didn't really see much of that. What we did see actually is, I'll tell you, Jameson Williams. That's the faller right there. Jameson Williams. He played preseason. He dropped a deep pass. He's also not that good. I agree. He either nearly tore his hamstring and is going to miss some time, missing 6 games for the suspension. I mean, this guy might not play until the end of his rookie contract. Like his rookie contract might be up before he gets on the field seriously. So yeah, we've talked about this a lot. Like historically, you need to get on the field and you need to play. And if you don't, it doesn't matter why, the likelihood of you succeeding drops significantly. So this kid needs to get on the field, needs to get on the field fast. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, if you're holding him, get out, get what you can. Like, not what you can, get fair market value, but get the hell out. Like,
okay, I just saw this in the DFF Discord. Tank Dell and Marvin Mims or Jameson Williams?
I'll take Tank and Mims, two guys who haven't fucked up their career yet.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough because
it'd be hard to pull that trigger. I mean, honestly, it would be hard to pull that trigger.
It would be, but I don't think it's far off. Like, I think it's like, I mean, a third or a second away from slamming that thing. Like, please let me get out from this Jameson Williams share, by the way, which I have zero of.
Yeah, same. I 100% would do Tank Dell Mims in a second. 100%. I don't even care where that second is.
Yeah.
I just don't believe in Jameson. Never have. And
honestly, I would do Tank Dell in a second. If I had Jameson Williams on my team, 100%, because I do believe Tank Dell is going to be moderately successful, at the very least, like a flex play. And that second round pick is, I can use it to maybe get something that is near Jameson or likely better, obviously, is the idea, or I could turn it into a first and call it a day. But yeah, man, like I would do that, I think, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But we're low on Jameson here.
We are low on Jameson. But
always have been. Always have been. Before the issues,
and
before everything, always.
I would like it to be a situation where he played all 16 games last year. He's healthy now heading into this year, and then doesn't pan out, because then I could really say, hey, he was mid the whole time. So now, we've got excuses. The same excuses I use for Bateman, which you've been lower on Bateman than anybody I know, and I can't stand it.
Forever.
But man, you've been right this whole time so far. But he was injured his rookie year with the groin, and it's Lamar's gone, and I can make excuses. But if I'm being real, if I'm being real, Bateman's a bust.
His value has gotten so low to a point where, like, on a redraft basis, I'm willing to take a shot at him, because it's like, especially in not redraft, more in like best ball, because it's like so low that like he'll probably pop on a here and there because Lamar and the offense, but yeah, he did not come as advertised. Let's put it that way. And I never saw what a lot of people were seeing, but yeah, you know who else? Chase Edmonds. I don't know why this popped up into my head earlier. I put out a tweet, but I just right now. I think that's what it was. I saw somebody pick him up off waivers, and I thought to myself, I was like, what's so funny is it was just last year, by the way, that everybody was trying to tell me once again that he was going to be the lead running back in a backfield, and that was Miami, which had
they traded
Raheem
him to
Mostert,
Denver, right?
and Jeff Wilson, and he couldn't beat them out, and then they traded him to Denver. But he also couldn't beat out James Conner, which I knew was going to happen. But I just think it's hilarious how now he's fighting for a backup job to Rachaad White, of all people. I mean, life comes at you fast. Whew.
Hey man, good job. Here's your crown.
Oh no, I don't even think about that. I just thought it was crazy how it was the heights were high for Edmonds and the lows are low.
I'm still holding him in a league, I think. So fun stuff. But anyways, the preseason week 1, just fun. You just feel it coming back. All the discussions are about actual football and stuff that happened on the field, and training camps are wrapping down, and we're waiting to see who gets cut. And I love it. I love it.
Honestly, I think one of my favorite things was watching Zach Charbonnet hit stick that guy twice. Just the way the force, it was that was football's back. I'm like, oh boy, this is gonna be fun. I really think Charbonnet is gonna give us some fun plays and a fun season. So yeah, some of these rookies are getting me excited already.
Rookie fever. All right. It's a great name for a podcast.
It is. Shout out Swags and
Swags.
Feverish Finero. Is that Fanaro on there, or
Yeah.
am I thinking of it is,
Feverish,
right?
yeah.
Or am I mixing two podcasts? Sometimes I mix up
You're thinking
HQ.
sites, yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I mix up Sipes.
Which is another good one, by the way. Not as good as ours, but
Yes.
all right,
no,
let's hop into
no,
some
no.
trades and non-trades. So this is one that got sent to me,
There's
and I had to
trade.
think about it real quick. Someone sent me 224 seconds for Dameon Pierce. And my first thought was Dameon Pierce, later drafted guy. We all know the history, how that works out. And this would be me getting return on investment. I did not spend 2 seconds for Dameon Pierce. I think I got him in the third or something like that. He had a really good season last year. That's why I reached out. I was like, hey, man, should I just take the 2 seconds and dip? But you had said something to me. You said you're kind of hoping that those 2 seconds turn into what Dameon Pierce is. And then you have the week 1 results from preseason. Dameon Pierce, out of most of the other quote unquote vets, like he got the night off. You know, they didn't want him out there. They didn't want him to get hurt. They didn't draft anybody behind him. They got Singletary in free agency, and I'm not worried about Singletary. So I think the smart thing for me is to kind of hold on to Dameon Pierce for now. And I think that in season, if I have quite a bit of running back depth on that team, I think I might be able to get more for him later on. I still don't think he's a long-term answer. We'll see. But typically those guys don't have long careers. We'll have to see what happens, but I already know what you think. You think you still think I should have rejected it?
Yeah, I think you can get a first for him, especially in season from somebody. I think he and Singletary are going to have similar target shares, to be honest with you. Singletary might edge him out slightly, maybe, but I think they're going to increase the pass attempts to him as well. And I think, maybe you see a little bit, I think you're going to see more like a more efficient team in general. Not that like, I think, rookie quarterback and Stroud is going to make it that, but I just think overall it's going to be a more well-oiled machine. So you're going to see I think he's going to be a little bit more efficient on the ground. He's not going to need to be leaned on as much. So even though they're going to split some of the load, and he might not get 75% of the carries like he did last year. I mean, he might get 65, but it might be a little bit more effective with them. So I think that he's going to be good in short order. I do agree with you. These guys don't last long no matter what. But again, I think you pray. I think what I said to you is you pray that either of those seconds turns into anything close to what Dameon Pierce is. And he's absolutely worth a first right now. Like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't give him up for anything less than a first, 100%. So that's what I would be going after.
Cool. This next one's from DU2. It was an interesting one. There's a lot of players involved. Again, I don't typically make trades that have so many pieces, but James Conner and Keenan Allen for Michael Carter, Malik Davis, Darnell Mooney, Donovan Peoples-Jones, 25 first and a 24 third. What do you think?
One of the managers sent this trade to me after and was like, "What do you think of this?" And I was like, I don't like either side, but I think I like the vets more, especially for a contending team, and I'm pretty sure that's what the side getting the vets is doing. So yeah, Keenan Allen and James Conner seem like pretty good pieces, but I mean there's some okay pieces scattered throughout this other side for sure. I mean the 25 first is a really nice piece, and I think you can maybe equate that to, or I mean, you'd rather have the 25 first than James Conner, and then, yeah, it's a bunch of stuff like Mooney and Peoples-Jones in a third, and Michael Carter for Keenan Allen. Like, yeah, it's, yeah.
I think, if I was involved in this trade conversation, then I want to secure myself a 25 first and a 24 third. And I'm not scared to move off of James Conner or Keenan Allen. I think I would have done something different. I don't think I just don't. There's not a situation where I'm trying to add Michael Carter or Malik Davis or Donovan Peoples-Jones to my team necessarily. I do still like Mooney, but I think there's a better way to get off of those old vets and get your future picks that you want without adding a bunch of like roster cloggers. Like you're probably never going to start Michael Carter. Malik Davis you'd be lucky if like he does anything really.
I think,
I don't like it. I'm gonna take the vets.
yeah, I think I would have, if I were moving the vets, I think I would have tried to move just one of them for the 25 first in some way.
Yes. There you go.
Whether it's like just Keenan Allen for the 25 first straight up, or Keenan for the 25 and Malik or one of those pieces that you like, or you do James Conner plus a piece for the 25 first or something like that.
Yeah.
I probably would have went that route and then tried to do the same thing with some other manager, whether it was in season or not, or now, and try to get a second, first, whatever, something similar, and double up on it, which you may be able to turn some of those pieces like a Darnell Mooney plus one of those other pieces in season. You may be able to turn them into a first, but it's going to be more difficult. You kind of make it a little bit more challenging on yourself in that way.
Yeah, I think making this into 2 separate trades is actually a really good idea. Go ahead and move James Conner for some future picks and a player, and then maybe make a separate trade with somebody else for Keenan Allen if you're trying to get off the players and do something with your team.
Yeah, and also going after 2 different managers sometimes allows you, because like you can get more by going after 2 different managers, because obviously one isn't giving up those 2 pieces, right? So sometimes by breaking it down that way, you have more of an opportunity to get more, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. This is another one. I don't know if we ever talked about this, but I was just checking the trades that went down, and DU1, Barkley for a 24 first.
Yeah. Smash. I'll take Barkley.
Yeah. I think I need multiple firsts for Barkley, or a first and a like a developmental player or something of that sort, a rookie, something like that. All right, cool. So
God, you have some 1 quarterback trades.
Yeah, are those allowed on this podcast? Are we allowed to do that?
It's okay. This is not the Super Flex Super Show. This is just Dynasty, and some people like to play with 1 quarterback.
Where are those people, and what the hell is wrong with them? All right, so yeah, my 1 QB leagues are fun though. It's cool because it's a lot of people who I know personally. Generally, like I think I only have 2 1 QB leagues. One of them are people I went to high school with. One of them are people I went to college with. So it's kind of cool in that way. So I had a series of trades in this 1 QB league, in which has a pretty solid roster, like Josh Allen, Eckler, T. Higgins, AJ Brown, Darren Waller, like just some pretty foundational pieces. So it's not far from competing, but definitely is missing some depth in terms of key production. And so I've been trying to maneuver around the board. I had moved DeAndre Hopkins last season for a first, so I have 2 first-round picks, 2 early ones. I think I have 3 and 4 is what it was. I had 3 and 4. So I made a series of trades here. What I was trying to do, 1 QB league, and if you have 3 and 4, you're going to miss out on Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Jahmyr Gibbs is going 2 overall every time. Okay, so I need a running back. All I have is Eckler, aging out. I'm looking to go up and get Gibbs here. So this all stemmed from the idea of doing that. Somebody needed a quarterback in Kirk Cousins. Offer actually came across my desk, and I'm like, I could use another piece here to maybe make this trade to move up from my 103 to 102 to get Gibbs is really my whole idea. So this series of trades started with Kirk Cousins for a 2024 second in 1 QB. What do you think about
that? Yeah, it's probably fine. Yeah, it's hard for me to gauge. I don't play any 1 quarterback dynasty leagues, but yeah, that I guess you anytime like there's probably not too many quarterbacks, but like 4 maybe that would go in the first round. It's hard for me to gauge, but I think it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have maybe Anthony Richardson and maybe Bryce Young go late, like mid to late first round. And almost only the rushing quarterbacks who are like really highly drafted go in the first round. Other than that, yeah, I mean, again, if you're in a 10 or 12 team league with 1 quarterbacks, there's 12 other quarterbacks like that. It's like, Kirk Cousins kind of doesn't matter. So 2024 second felt like really good return for me. And so now that I have 2024 seconds, I'm like, let me go ahead and offer the guy who has 102, Chigaquanquo, my 309, my 103, and my 2024 second, not the one I got, because I think by 2024 I'm going to be a little bit better for the 102. So I'm trying to move up from 103 by giving a second, 3.09, and Chigaquanquo. What do you think about that?
I love this. Yeah, I love this a lot. Chig, I'm pretty high on. 309 doesn't really matter. 24 second, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I think that's the price you have to pay to move up from 103 to 102. I wonder why the person who had 102 was willing to do this.
Well, they're moving back one pick for an extra second. And, and I think he has, I'm actually pretty sure this manager has Breece Hall. So, and I'm trying to think, they probably have another running back, but they definitely have Breece Hall. I know that for sure. So maybe they just think, I don't need Gibbs. I can get JSN, or what? Maybe they like another receiver better. I don't know. But I can get JSN and be good there. So I think I offered without the second originally, and the person was like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. So I waited, made this trade because I didn't want to just give up all my future value. But once I had an extra one, I'm like, screw it. Let me send him the second just to move up one pick. But I think it matters a lot because, again, I have Austin Eckler and then nothing left, right? Yeah. So I think I needed to add a young running back, one who has a lot of dynasty value and a lot of potential production. So that was my idea there. Then I'm turning around. So those two trades got done. Then I'm turning around and I'm like, maybe now I can move on from Eckler because I have secured my future running back, or at least I have kind of churned Eckler in my mind to Jahmyr Gibbs, right? And maybe I can now get a different running back plus for Eckler. So my thought was maybe I can move Eckler, who just was the running back one, has a ton of value, for Ramondre Stevenson in the 206. What do you think about that?
I think it's a good way to get off of Eckler. I think Stevenson has a pretty long career there. And if I'm reading correctly, that 206 is more like what we see as a super flex 204, 203, something like that, 204. Right, because you're not having those two, the 4 quarterbacks going off in the first round.
You mean a 304? You mean a 304? It's like a 304.
No, so the 206 and a 1 QB would be more like a 204 in the Superflex. Would you move it up a little bit?
Yes,
right?
yes. Sorry. I misunderstood. I misunderstood what you're saying.
I don't play any one quarterback.
No. I misunderstood. I thought you were going the other way with it for some reason. Yes, it would be slightly higher. It would 206.
So I mean, it's just instead of it being
would be an early first. I mean, early second. Correct.
Instead of being a mid second, it's an early second. So I like this. Yeah. Eckler, we like him, but really, honestly, this might be his last actual productive year. There's a chance. I mean, it's sad to say just because we love him and he loves fantasy football, and so he's one of those players that everybody in the community just absolutely loves. But the reality is, he's not going to be worth much more than he is right now.
I think he'll be an ambassador when he's done with football. So. It'll be okay. He'll still be around, I think, for fantasy football. But I think that this is the case of getting out a year early rather than a year late, right? So I think that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. And I may take a little hit this year on production from player to player, but I'm adding Jahmyr Gibbs. I'd be adding Stevenson and a second for the future. It just seems kind of like the right thing to do, even if I take a slight hit in the production. And I've already talked about how I'm not too worried about Zeke. So the manager, I reached out, I think the day after I sent it to him, I was like, thoughts on the offer? And they're considering. Mm-hmm. And that was a day ago. So I'm trying not to rock the boat too much, probably overthinking it, but I'm just going to let it sit there for a bit and see what happens. I'll report back next week.
Love it.
Oh, that's all I got.
I like seeing moves where you're just sticking to one team and just trying to build, make another move to make this team. And I think really the best way you got to do it. Because if you're trying to like really construct all the leagues you're in at the same time, not only are you going to lose a little bit of track, but like you're going to lose focus at least. If you focus on the one roster, you could really diligently make moves like this to just better your team because you have a plan, right? Having one plan is easier than having like 10.
Also, you gain momentum. Other people see trades going. Other people get interested in doing deals. And you just kind of got to strike while the iron's hot sometimes. You got to get in there and read the room. And this league actually isn't like super active in terms of trading. And they're like slower to respond to offers and stuff. I actually think some of them are a little bit older than I am. Not too much, but but even that sometimes there's that gap in terms of like getting on technology daily and hourly like some of us do. But for me, I just think that even in those leagues, you can create activity. Like I get in those DMs, I send out offers. Hey, what's up? I'm in the league chat, adding them if they don't respond. Like, bro, get them to respond to you. Like we talk about this all the time. Commitment and effort, and force them to put in some if they're not going to do it themselves. They jumped into a dynasty league. Like make them do a little bit of work. Come on.
That's you too.
Hell yeah.
Cool, man. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, I'm sure I could come up with something, but I'm gonna stop here.
Cool. All right, man. Thanks everyone for giving us a listen. Check us out on Twitter, Dynasty Underdog, at Uriah Dawkins, at Willie Bew and DFF. Hop in our Discord. It's free. It's fun. It's active. And we do have a YouTube channel. Check it out. And listen to us on Spotify if you can. Other than that,
Later.
Peace out, guys.